Okay, so what do we got? We got August 12th, 2020 at 1 p.m. This has already started. I just turned off the volume on their birds. All right. Okay, so that's right there. Here's this, you can see. Here's this, you can see. Let's refresh this page, because the live has started now. See, they don't have it up yet, people. Here it's saying it's already started. Do you see that? Right? But here on this page, it's not even coming in yet. That's what I was having a problem with this one. This one was done 5 days ago. This one here was not done 1 day ago. This one was done back to back to this one. Okay? This one was done 5 days ago. Keep that in mind. Okay? All right. It's going to have to come in here in a second. Now, I didn't catch this one because, you know, I don't live for this purpose. Okay? So, just go back to, let's see, go back to the beginning. So there's that. There's that. We're on this page. Third page. We're trying to get the live stream up. See, it's not coming in yet. Why? It says right here, it's on live. You can hear it. Right? But here it's not coming up. We want to just keep doing this until it comes up. Alright, see if we get the same kind of result like we did last time. Them switching it around like deck cards. Alright. With their devil cards. Alright. So hold on. So you can hear they're glitching. Something's glitching in there. Alright, I turned on the volume. It's glitching. Why is it glitching? Okay, so what they're doing now
who have tested positive for COVID-19
is they're doing it like
sure
this.
That we know all of the people they've come in contact with when they could have been infectious.
They are not.
Although we do support the federal government's
posting
work
it here.
developing a
Isn't
COVID
that
alert
interesting?
app.
Well, because they know, right? That's like I said.
Can't tell you everything.
Like I told you.
Places person-to-person contact.
My channel's being shadow banned.
Public health teams typically have staff
right?
who work on contact tracing for communicable diseases.
So here it says we've got the waiting one, and now it's streaming here.
That is why I'm pleased
but if we go in here,
the province will be hiring 500 more healthcare
they're not even posting it there now.
Increase contact tracing,
right? Because they don't want you to see this back-to-back shit. Right? That's what's happening here, people.
Communities, as well as preparing for the fall immunization plan, which we'll be announcing later
That's
this
what's
month.
happening.
These positions will be temporary.
That's what's happening.
And will be recruited by the Provincial Health Services Authority. We expect many will be retired nurses.
There it is right there. Now it just came in.
As well as recent graduates.
It just came in now.
The plan will allow health authorities
so I'm going to listen to, so I'm peeling apples.
Focused on COVID-19.
It took a while for that to kick in.
Ensure that we have teams that we can deploy.
I'm not really going to record
as required.
What's he saying? Because, you know, I'm going to sit here and listen to it, obviously.
Now and into the fall.
And I'm going to peel apples.
And then I'll be happy to take questions on any other subjects.
Okay.
Said a number of times.
Okay, they're justifying contact tracing here, people.
It's how we ensure that when somebody
that's what they're doing.
With a communicable disease, something that can be transmitted between people, that we do everything we can to prevent that transmission and prevent.
Even though they're lying to you and doing fake pre-recorded live streams.
They've been exposed.
Right?
That the way that we
They're not telling you that they're lying to you.
In our communities,
okay,
is by making sure that anybody who's been exposed
4 days in the 4 days
in isolation
in the past,
and monitoring
5 days in the past, back to back to back to back.
Making sure they're staying away from others, so if and when
they got a little glitch right now.
They're not passing it on.
Right.
And the work of doing that is the work that we do in public health with our contact tracing teams.
Oh, we never did it until COVID showed up. That's what she was saying.
Health authorities has developed teams that are experts in doing this. And so every time we have a positive case of COVID-19, they're followed up individually to find out exactly who they were with, where they went.
This is an invasion of privacy, people.
And we're very skilled at being able to go through those things with people in a very confidential way and making sure that we know those people who might be at risk. There's often different levels of risk. And we've put out alerts, for example, where people might have just been exposed for a very short period of time. And we ask them to monitor themselves carefully for symptoms and give them a number so they know what to do if they start to feel ill, and so they can get tested rapidly. For others, they may have had very close
Obviously, the computer's glitching right now, right?
We spend time with in indoor spaces, our family, our friends, maybe in a workplace where we've had settings, or where we've had transmission.
Either or.
In a healthcare setting. And for those people,
so let's see.
Them to stay home.
That's when it started.
For 14 days. That's the incubation period.
Okay, that was before they got talking.
And this is how we break those chains.
I kept trying to refresh the page to see where it would jump in.
We've been doing since,
but it lagged.
Our first cases in January.
Okay, we've got that.
And as,
it kept lagging. It wouldn't come in, wouldn't come in, wouldn't come in.
Many of the people who are doing this on a day-to-day basis,
but finally it came in.
Do other very important public health work as well.
So if we refresh this page,
programs to
it should stay there.
And so this allows us now to get more people.
We got 383 watching there.
We continue through the progression.
And we've got how many watching here?
We're prepared if there's a surge.
Oh, look, doesn't even say.
In the coming months.
Oh wait, here we go.
And so the new people will be
380 watching.
And will be
12 minutes ago. What happens if we refresh the page? 386. See, look, you have to turn it on, people. You have to turn it on. That tells you it's not a live stream. When you have to turn it on, that tells you that it's not a live stream.
And so the new people will be joining teams that
we're going to go, we've got that one. We're going to use one of these ones. We'll use this one.
I will also note
this is a restream.
The work that we do in trying to support people to make sure that
when they turn off like that, that's a restream. Okay,
that they have what they need to be able to stay home, to be able to stop these chains of
transmission. They're trying to hide the funk. That's what they're doing.
And we are committed to doing that to make sure that we bend our curve and keep it low here in BC, and we reduce the risks in our communities so that we can continue to increase our economic, to make sure that our surgeries are starting again. It's the key part that we need to do to keep going for the next few months, to maybe even years, until we have an effective.
To maybe even years. Did you hear this, people? As they are doing fake pre-recorded live streams.
To self-isolate.
With fake statistics, fake deaths.
Public health order.
And they continue to do it over and over and over again.
And most people, when we give them the means to do that, and we support them in doing it, have been very good about that, and we will continue to support people across the province.
Right. I'm just refreshing this page because this live is going to kick out any minute. And this is different. Do you see this? Do you see this? This wasn't like this before, people. I don't remember seeing that on the other ones.
Okay.
Right?
In the line, please.
But the thing is,
if
you refresh, you see, it says it's live, right? Do you see that? But if you refresh the page, okay, watch what happens. See, this tells you it's not live. See, there's nothing there to suggest that this is a live stream, because it is not. It's not. It's not a live stream. This is a restream of something else.
Are we to that threshold of transmission?
Right.
Getting out of control. You know, you've used the work of contact tracers up until now, but you've also just talked about what a huge effort it is. So at what point
they're getting smart, right?
Back down on restrictions the answer if this contact tracing isn't enough?
Yeah, so we've said this all along, and the contact tracing is enough. We've seen, as you know, over the last few weeks, a gradual increase in numbers of people who have
don't know what the
positive,
result's going to
and
be
we've
here,
been
people.
reporting out on the contacts as well, and we're now up around 1,700 people who have been in contact and that we're following up on a daily basis. So we have the resources.
It's a good thing I just hang out in the blackberry bushes, huh?
Data as well earlier
like
on,
seriously,
that,
I don't go too far.
Numbers of contacts per
I'm with the blackberries,
and it had
you know,
quite high, and then it went quite low.
the cucumber plants,
it's
the walnut trees,
and that is concerning. Right now, we are holding
and in front of my stove,
to contact
right?
98% of people who are.
I don't wander too far from home.
Of our cases,
they make sure that I'm in dire poverty, and I can't afford, you know, transportation and all that good stuff, right? You know, I'm one of those locked in a box with the manufactured poverty in the province of British Columbia, Canada, so that you know, my family become easy pickings for the predators that you know, capitalize off of the misery that they create through their political agendas that are self-serving to the public union sector, basically.
That we've been able to manage this,
right? That's basically it, people. You know, they cut out how many surgeries to save how much money? Where do you think that money was going? It was going to pay out severance packages and disability pension plans and life insurance policies. And they had to get that money from somewhere. Right? And even if they pay them out, not everybody is safe because some of them end up like Uncle John. You know, they get a little cough and they go to the hospital just to be on the safe side. Next thing you know, their lives are ripped out from underneath their feet, right? And they're medically kidnapped, and their brains are scooped out and replaced with styrofoam, right? And then they just die, old and alone, with nobody there to hold their hand except the culprits and the criminals, right? And then, you know, the government with their lawyers, they just take it to court. Well, they show up to court, and they just throw it out, right? And act like nothing happened. And they do it over and over and over again, just like they do with their fake pre-recorded live streams.
Public health directives, they're acting appropriately.
Right?
There are incidences.
This is not a real live stream, people. There, it kicked out. Do you see that? Oh, it went on and it went out. It went on. There, you see? It's going in and out, in and out. Do you see this? That's because they're trying to hide the date that this was recorded. That's why. That's what's happening here.
On the number of faces in the smaller spaces.
That's what's happening.
We're going to be looking hard at enforcement.
This little thing right here, I don't remember seeing that. On the last videos. Now maybe it was there, maybe it wasn't, right? Because you know my eyesight's not that great, right? That's another one of those issues, right? For all I know, when I went to the eye doctor, maybe she shot something into my eye to make my eye worse, because ever since I've been seeing the eye doctor, nothing's been getting better, that's for sure, right? My ears didn't start ringing until I went to see the eye doctors. Now, not the current one that I'm seeing right now, but you know, as soon as I started seeing eye doctors, that's when I started getting bigger issues. Yeah. So, how long is this video? 8 minutes. Right. Do you know what? I think Adrian Dix is a transsexual. I think he was a woman. I do. He has the body of a woman when he stands. He has the hand gestures and the persona of a woman. I think there's a couple of individuals in this government that are transgender, and we just aren't told about it. Okay? Right? So anyway, we know it's not a real live. We know that it didn't kick in right away because they had to fake the live, because they're faking this live stream, people.
And our next question today comes from Richard Zisman.
They're covering their bases.
This is for Dr. Henry.
But it's already been documented that this one here was done 5 days ago. because it was over here, then it jumped over that, and it imported itself there, then it disappeared, and then it reappeared so that it could list that, right? So, you know, you could do this 1,000 times and it wouldn't change anything. A lie is a lie is a lie is a lie, and that's what I've been saying ever since I figured this out. Right? So this is why I say, you know, don't be surprised if YouTube doesn't try and take down my channel. Not because I'm a bad person, not because I swear, not because of anything other than they don't want the public to know what our governments are doing, okay? Because if they're willing to go that far for the BC government, then you know that they're going to do that for every other government out there that's doing this, and they're doing it, people. That's how they're getting away with it, because they're lying through their live streams, right? They have infiltrated the internet, right? And they are using public tax dollars to, they're using public tax dollars to, what do you call it? Commit crimes, right? They use public facilities, right? Like the 60 Scoop with the schools now, the hospitals with illegal embalming of bodies and harvesting their organs illegally and then selling off those bodies for bodysuits. Who knows what they're doing with these bodies once you walk away and you think your body, that body's going to the crematory. Honest to God, I don't think so. I think they took it someplace else because they're going for the bang for the buck. That's why they rushed out of that house in that phantom car with, what you call it, with Ciera's body in the coroner's van, okay? Right? With the big cop standing in the front as a distraction, right? Guarding the door as he's asking the body man if he got the stuff. The cell phone, like the cell, or the stuff. It was either stuff. Did you get the stuff? Did you get the cell? You know? What was he supposed to get? He sure in the hell didn't get the body. He went in there to get a body, right? He didn't even come in with a body bag. But yet he's walking out the door and that big cop standing there saying, did you get the stuff? Are you coming back? Are you done? What do you mean you're done? I don't see you with the body. How could you possibly be done? Right? I remember vividly taking my so, you know, that tells you something, people. Right? Right? And then all of a sudden it became suspicious because they needed to get her to the hospital real fast to cut her open. This is what I mean by using public facilities and public tax dollars. Right? But I also know right? This is what we're dealing with. Well, at least what I'm dealing with, right? A lot of people in British Columbia, Canada, they think they're safe. They're not safe, people. They're not safe unless they're like them. But things like this, you know, individuals like this, eventually they're going to eat themselves if they haven't already eaten themselves. Right? You're watching this, eh? This live stream is not even on. Okay? This is just, I don't know what this is. Okay? I've been through this before. But they're trying to hide how these live streams are coming in. Okay? I'm telling you, I don't remember seeing this. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't fake the funk and post it as in it came in, because they now internally have changed how they're streaming these things. But that's okay, because the proof has already been documented on more than one occasion. Make sure we manage it as carefully as we can for their well-being, but also ensure that we have these options available for people. I know there's going to be those that are concerned. We're working every day. I have to keep doing this because that live stream is dead. So we don't know when this is going to kick out. But honestly, I think that they've found a way to hide even more what they're doing. See, I don't do a lot of live streams, so I don't really know how the system works that well. But it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out half the shit that's going on here. We had a technical briefing that talked about how contact tracing had to be done within a certain timeline. So basically what they're doing here, I think, is they're ramping up the contact tracing to be more aggressive, right? And they're justifying it with their pre-written, pre-recorded false statistics, whether they're deaths, infections, whatever, because, you know, they've sold us out, people. They sold us out a long time ago when they let fentanyl come into the province of British Columbia, Canada, and start killing over 1,500 people a year. And that's what's being documented, okay, for years and years, right, as they blame the victims, saying that they should have known better as they are harvesting these organs, among other things. Okay, that was the beginning of the sellout, as well as, you know, overinflating the housing market with overseas buyers, right? And now they're bankrupting innocent families, hardworking families, fathers that have businesses or, you know, had a job that blah, 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 right? And if they're not bankrupting them, right, they're driving them crazy with all these orders, right, and rules and more orders. And then they're driving them even more crazy with people coming in, stalking them, whether it's WorkSafe BC or whether it's the health team or whoever, the city bylaws, whoever is, there's a multitude of people that are grouped up into their gangs, and they're going around gang stalking small businesses, right? Gang stalking children in schools, gang stalking people in grocery stores, just a whole lot of freaking gang stalking as they are doing their fake pre-recorded live stream back to back. Already proved that, people. Days in advance, 5 days in advance, 4 days in advance, 2 days in advance, 1 week in advance, consecutively, month after month after month, as they bring in more stringent orders, right?
The goal, as you know from the announcement, I think, is for it to be ready to welcome patients in 2026. The arrangement with Providence Healthcare is that they would make a contribution and we would make a contribution.
I don't know what they're talking about here.
The sale by Providence Healthcare today go to their share of that contribution.
I think this is fake.
After decades of delay.
I think that is fake.
I mean, decades of delay is on track. This was a project that was announced in 2002,
394,
in 2004, then 2006, then 2008, then 2011, and 2016.
398.
Without going anywhere. And so what we've
Oh,
tried to
maybe
do
it is a real live stream, but I don't know why it's not showing as a live stream on the actual video. Only here, though.
That Vancouver needs in the 21st century with our partners at Providence Healthcare, and today is a step on Providence's side.
You see, YouTube is involved, right?
The work that we've done together, and I'm very proud of Providence Healthcare and as partners, Vancouver Coastal Health.
So,
of course,
if they made it where you can't catch them no more,
and
that just tells you how involved YouTube is.
Everybody in Vancouver, but also
because they're changing the code,
who uses
right? The HTML code, the script.
Our next question is from Penny Doplos.
You have to remember they changed the script on YouTube last year. They went to I can't remember what the coding is called, but they changed their whole system. That's why all of a sudden we ended up getting all these glitches for months and months and months and months as they were changing over their script within their source code, right? So if there's a glitch in terms of you can catch them doing their fake live streams, they can write in code,
good question,
right?
And, certainly
with their code writers to correct that problem. I'm wondering if maybe that's what's happening here.
The bells that are ringing.
Oh, they're supposed to be in the Parliament House.
No, there's not. So I recommend
I wonder.
that. Dr. Henry,
we don't have a democracy anymore. There is no Parliament, people. Get that through your head. There are no debates. Okay? It's just a movie set. All right? Everything's been nothing but a movie set.
It is one of the tools of many tools.
Right? They do their little sign devil signals in their interviews, right, with their, election time and right, I posted that there just, a couple, 2, 3, 4 videos ago, right, you can see that news reporter guy there doing the devil sign or something, right, of course, if you're not aware of it, you don't pay attention to these things. I never really paid attention to these things, but now that it's coming to the surface, I'm paying more attention to these things, so as I notice them, I am going to point them out to show you how infiltrated our political systems have been taken over by Satanists, basically, and devil worshippers and altered egos and, you know, holograms and aliens and robots and who knows? Who knows? All we know is they're not acting as a normal human being would.
Is the way to go in terms of mass,
right?
Because it may indicate, as we were talking about,
this is a long video.
May think that this is
19 minutes so far.
Have to do the other things.
Right, 4:01.
The physical distancing works. We know that keeping your contacts small works. We know that in settings like schools that are very controlled, we can put in place layers of measures that protect us.
60
And
scoop.
we've said from the very beginning, you know, personal protective equipment like masks in the community are the last line of defense, and they should be worn when you can't maintain those physical distances. But we also need to remember that we need to be inclusive. There are reasons why people cannot wear masks, and we need to ensure that they can get the services and the care they need as well. I will also say that we are now, we are looking at where these transmission events are happening as part of our case management, contact tracing, outbreak management across the province. And where we're seeing transmission are events and places where people would not wear masks.
Just remember, they're giving out false statistics, okay, days in advance before the days have even happened. So anything that she has to say is mute, right? It's not real, okay? It's just called gibberish, diarrhea of the mouth, you know, just a bunch of hogwash, speaking with forked tongue,
Do you have a follow-up,
right?
Penny?
Because they're not legitimate live streams.
Point Robert's residents would like to be able
Right.
to cross into Canada and then right back out through people.
Right? Don't you think? Right? If somebody's doing a pre-recorded live stream 4 days, 5 days, 1 week in advance with all these fake statistics, then put it on the shelf, right? Keep it hidden, and then on the day that it was recorded supposedly for, re-stream it to be legitimate, but in fact, it was done a week ago. I mean, how much authority do these people really have in terms of their statistics? But again, you know, YouTube is shadow banning that truth, right? And obviously they're playing games with the spamming of a federal trademark name, right? In terms of they're in bed with the government before they're in bed, well, I wouldn't say the people, but they, you know, this is a government, YouTube, I think, is a government-owned website. I am really starting to think that, people. Or the government has contracted them out, right, as like the government likes to do. They gave them a big buyout, a big payout, right, to silence them so that they can silence truthers, right? So yeah, I'm wondering if my channel is going to be removed because of this, people, because I'm not going to stop exposing what the provincial government is doing. They've damaged and hurt and injured and destroyed my family so much. And now I can see how they've opened up the gate of hell. Okay, that's what they're doing. They're opening up the gate of hell to draw in tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of more families with children and women and the elderly and the uncles and the dads and the grandpas, right, into their pit of hell, basically, right, their pit of misery, so that they can capitalize off of that misery, right, and then continue to lie to you, right. So I got to keep this on because we don't know how long this is going to go on for. Right? Oh, see, now it's back on. Oh, do you see? It went back off. Did you see that?
Tomorrow.
Because this is a fake pre-recorded live stream.
When that's concluded, we'll continue to work,
just keep that in mind.
Restart plan, the recovery plan.
When it goes in and out like that,
working on all summer long.
It's a fake pre-recorded live stream.
Businesses, from not-for-profits, from communities.
They're just running it through.
And individuals.
So people like me that get it through our feeds can see it.
$2.5 billion that we have earmarked to put into transit, to put into ferries, to put into businesses and not-for-profits and community organizations is well deployed.
They don't have any money left.
Having said that,
they've taken it and ran away with it and put it someplace else.
That we are a minority government, and in that context, every day is potentially your last day. And quite frankly, that's been motivation for me over the past 3 years to focus on the things that matter to British Columbians. So I'm going to stay on that track as long as I can.
Do you have a follow-up, Bob?
As he hammers the nails on the coffins.
An election would be more like what's going on in Major League Baseball right now than what's going on with the NHL bubble. It would require travel around the province. It would require gathering of people. And no matter how solid Dr. Henry's plan and advice might be to Parsons, BC, it would still put people in jeopardy. Wouldn't you want to talk to the other parties and come to an agreement that maybe now is not the time and maybe to stick to the original schedule, the end of the mandate next year?
So we'll watch. You watch.
Well, again, you also, if elections are cantankerous in any jurisdiction, spend 5 minutes in the legislature.
You see that for yourself, right?
You'll see with your own eyes that
see for your own eyes.
Love and tranquility during question period. It's hostility and rash accusations and responses. That's politics.
It'll be another fake debate
for another day. What I focus on as the leader of the
These guys went to acting school. Apparently they're in the Parliament buildings. That's supposed to be calling everybody into the chambers where the red carpet is that Uncle John used to vacuum every day. And then he'd watch everybody spill out and start partying. They'd go in there and spit fire back and forth, accuse each other of this and accuse each other of that. And as soon as the debate was over, they'd all spill out into the halls and then they'd go off and party, people. Party, party, party. And Uncle John used to have to go into the bathrooms and clean up some of these nasty women's freaking dirty tampons, right? Because they throw their pads and their tampons all over the place and garbage all over the place. He said that the men were cleaner than the women. He was a janitor. That's what he told me. So don't be deceived by these people. They're going to go in there with their funky little fake debate, just like they're doing their funky fake pre-recorded live streams, acting like they're so against each other. But as soon as they walk out and nobody's looking, they're partying. Uncle John used to clean up after them. He worked in the Parliament building for 25 years.
Say that Minister Dix and I have been talking about the importance of making sure that younger.
You think that's changed?
The message. This is a call out to,
and that's assuming that they're even in the Parliament buildings. They're probably lying because this is a fake pre-recorded live stream. It's pretty apparent.
British Columbian. We need to communicate with people around.
It was done an hour ago. Then they restreamed it. Yeah, okay, maybe, right? Because, like I said, all they have to do is change the script in the source code in how the computer reads the pages, right?
I do.
They have all the tax dollars to pay tens of thousands of dollars for somebody to write them new code so that they can continue to be sneaky.
There were any updates on that? I think the last time that you mentioned it, you said there were 45 or 46 cases.
Yeah, I don't actually have a new number related to that. I know that in my discussions with the people who are doing the work in Vancouver Coastal, it's become clear that there were a series of parties with overlapping social groups. So we're
blaming people for having parties.
Analysis. It's a
right? I told you the nuns are coming into the school. The nuns and the priests, right? Like in the 60s scoop.
And connecting
with the nurses, right? Who actually are the real Lucy's that are connected to the vampires in the neighborhood when it comes to the Dr. Ghouls.
Are people that are connected to known exposures or people who were at an event that went to something
because, again,
when they were in
they're feeding you lies. They just jump in the cards.
Directly related to that party. I can say that there's second generation.
And of course, the public won't find out.
Who then went to other places
because
and had
government has all the resources to make sure that they don't find out. So I'm just probably talking into the wind.
They go up there for a period of time. They come down to the lower mainland, and then there's been.
But you see, these videos they can be uploaded someplace else if it really comes down to that, people.
The entertainment in other places. So. I'll
you know, YouTube is not the only source to put videos up on. Right.
Hi there, speaker.
Now I'm just going to run this through.
Back to school and regarding the increased number in cases that we're seeing, is there any thought to pulling back on some of the things that we can do in other aspects of our life to balance out the potential increased cases that we're going to see?
This is not alive, okay?
And I don't know if that means restricting...
This is not alive, people, because live, like first of all, they don't do this. Live streams don't do that, people.
For 5 months.
Okay, live streams
seems like,
don't do that.
5,000 months in COVID years.
Like I said,
Henry and
they're
I,
trying
Dix, and a host of healthcare professionals
they are trying
across
to
the province,
cover
as
their
well
asses
as,
here.
other leaders in communities to try and find that
so we're going to go to the first one. We're going to go in
restrictive
here
enough
and we're
to
going to
get
see what we get.
bend on
Okay,
the
they
curve
still
that
got
we
this
saw
going on.
earlier, allowing us
I'm
to go
down
to
in
phase
here.
3 of our restart plan.
Okay.
But, as numbers increase, we have to adapt and amend our behavior. That's why today's announcement of 500 more professionals to help with contact tracing is so critically important. It, first of all, relieves those that have been working tirelessly for the past number of months.
Encourage gang stalking.
Colombians, but it also allows us to expand our education programs. It allows us to make sure that enforcement is in place. And this goes back to, I think it was Penny's question earlier on. We have been relying on people to use their good judgment and common sense.
They're going to bring in the BC Liberal government, right? That's because there's only two parties to vote in here. The BC Liberal government's going to come in, and because they're like really mean, and they really don't give a shit about anything other than money, 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 money. That's when they're really going to attack the women and children and the poor in terms of financial restraints and, cutting people off of welfare, and like they did with me back in 2003 with 5 dependent children, even before the legislation came in, even though I wasn't qualified, even though legally they couldn't have done it, they did it anyway, right? And because they know that you can't get lawyers to help you because the lawyers, many of them are involved, right? Or just don't want to get involved because they themselves don't want to be targeted, right? This is how they go about harvesting the poorest of the poor, beginning with the poorest of the poor. And as they're harvesting the poorest of the poor, the ones that are above a certain income, if they want a heart or a kidney or a liver or whatever it is that they want, because they can afford to buy it, people. They can afford to buy cash outright, right? Because don't forget, BC sold off, our properties out here to the richest of the rich, right? In terms of, property developers, property investors. So they're coming in with good money, and they're scoping out where they can get their organs on the fly, right? Their organs on the fly. And because they can afford to buy them, when the poor start to die en masse, like they have been, torn apart, right? And then die for whatever reason. Well, there's your surplus. There's your surplus for a demand that needs to be filled. This is what the government has been doing and is continuing to do. So when the BC Liberal government gets in, they're just going to ramp it up. I'm telling you, I've been through it already. The BC Liberal government was in Parliament for 16 years. They bankrupted me so many times, I can't even count, people. Not only did they bankrupt me, but they destroyed Ciera, they injured Andre, right? Right? Medically kidnapped Uncle John, okay? Right? Oh, jeez. So anyway, we know that this live stream is not a live stream. It's some kind of pre-recorded live stream. But I'm starting to think that maybe they've tweaked the code, the HTML source code, in order to hide what we witnessed just the other day with these two, because this should be reading what this is reading. That's what my last video on that proves. But you see, they don't want you seeing that, so they're going to try and find a way to not have that happen again, where you will see that happen, right?
Thanks for the question, and it is.
Okay, I'd be very surprised. Well, I'm going to be either or very surprised to find out what pops up. I mean, like, I'm beyond being disappointed anymore. I know, like, this 5.1 million and a bit nightmare that these individuals have put British Columbia, Canada into. So, you know, maybe 1 million people are doing good. The other 4 million, probably not, right? So I'm 1 out of 4 million people in a nightmare based on something that's beyond corruption, okay? Because they are harvesting human beings, okay? Right? Just keep that in mind when you walk among the masses, in terms of when you go out into public.
We don't want to be fear
okay?
mongers, but we want people to recognize that there is no immunity at this point in time. There is no vaccine at this point in time. We have to take the measures that are available to us.
Pearthorne. He said, I'm not fear-mongering. Yes, he is.
Don't go into
yes, he is.
Of
course he's fear-mongering, people.
Make sure that you keep your
that's his power.
As limited as you
right? That's
can.
his power.
Now, that sounds counter to opening up our K-12 system. We, unlike every other jurisdiction in North America, have the...
If he wasn't fear-mongering, he'd make sure that his caucus, his government, would be acting with integrity, but instead it's breach of trust, fraud, false pretense, conspiracy to commit fraud, right, and all this other stuff. It only takes 3 individuals under the Criminal Code of Canada, unless they've taken that out too, you know, repealed it, but it only takes 3 individuals under the Criminal Code of Canada to form a criminal organization. This is beyond a criminal organization, okay? When you've got at least 4 million people hanging on a thread, okay? Very, very, very uncertain with what the future holds for them and their families, based on a handful of individuals, right? And their lies, you know, what you think? There is no best outcome. A best outcome for the 1 million that are buying the organs. A bad outcome for the 4 million that are being harvested. Okay, that's your pendulum. That's how it's swinging. Okay.
You've noted there's a bit of adjustment because people went from expecting, you know, maybe...
Okay, that's your pendulum, people.
Given that most parents favor
4 million are being harvested as 1 million are paying for it, as they use tax dollars to pay for some of it, as they use tax dollars to be able to use the facilities to do it, right? As they use tax dollars to recruit gangs to stalk you so that they can do it, right? As they use tax dollars to pay off the good people so that they don't speak out, so that the people that are being targeted remain in isolation, right, and have nowhere to turn, right? Isn't that what bullies do? Isn't that what bullies do, right? They target, they scare everybody else away so that they can swarm and destroy and pull apart what they're destroying.
Way to make it work, and I'm confident that people of goodwill and good intention, knowing the importance of education to our well-being and to our communities, will work as...
Well, it would help if they would tell the truth, but you see, that's the thing, though, people. There's nobody there holding them to account because the news media is involved. Because the news media... There we go. Did you see that? I told you. I told you. Look at that. They wrote in new script, people. They wrote in new script. There we go. It just kicked out. Stream 15 seconds ago. They kicked it out because they know that they've been caught. So they've changed it. They've changed their streams. Yep, that's what's happened. That's what's happened. I'm going to refresh. Just hold on. Well, we know it was a fake live stream. We've seen how fast that kicked out. Right. It's easy enough to get into the source code. Where are we? Oh. Hold on. Where's source code? How come I don't see it? How come I don't see source code? It should be here. More tools. I'm looking for source code, people. You should be able to get into the source code. Right? Looks like they took out their source code. Oh wait, no, you get it this way. View page source. This is how they changed it. Okay, if what we witnessed is what I'm thinking, they came in here with their taxpayers' dollars and paid somebody to write in code to hide the lies, so that the live stream would kick in like that and kick out like that. Okay? Because they don't want it documented the way I've been documenting it. Okay? Now, I don't recall seeing this, but you seen me do that. It just kicked, it went from one to the other. Okay? I was on that, but I was really on this page. I was refreshing. You seen that. Right? I was refreshing. And then immediately, as soon as I refreshed, after they supposedly cut off their live, it went into that. So we've got that. So here, let's refresh this one. Streamed 3 minutes ago. So was that a legitimate live stream, people? What do you think? What do you think? Considering when it was on, it kept going out. Considering when it was on, it kept going out. I already showed you that. Not only did it go out there when I refreshed the page, it was going out here, in and out. And that tells you that's not a live stream. That's a pre-recorded live stream. So, I am starting to think, I mean, I'm not no guru when it comes to this stuff, but I understand a little bit to know that it's very easy to write in new script to compensate for the glitches that can quite possibly be a game changer when it comes to, you know, documenting the fraud. Right? Because remember, it didn't come in. When they started the live, remember, it didn't come in. It didn't come in right away. Like when here. When they started this live, it didn't come in right away, people. It didn't come in for about 10-15 minutes. And when it did come in, it was back to back with this. Right? And then they had to correct it, and then they made it jump, and they put it there. But we knew that as soon as the live kicked out, it came in at, 3 days, but everything changed over to the point where this one would technically be 5 days now, right? After they took it down and reposted, then it came with the 1 day as in it was yesterday. And you know they're watching my videos because when you go into my channel, okay, this is my channel, you see? This is my channel. I still have one. Okay? Alright, you go into my videos. This is what you're going to see. Here it is. Right? Here it is. Government continues to lie. Right? We know that we've got people messing around with my court files with Justin Bowden, who threw it out of court, even though it was supposed to be for a waiver of fees, right? Look how many views I got, people, on something that really, technically, the government should go to jail for. Think about it. The government should go to jail for, well, somebody should go to jail, right? Or be fired at least. It should be a big news media hype about how there's all this scandal and fraud going on, like they did with Glenn Clark when they wanted to bring in the BC Liberal government with the draconian American, cut everybody off of welfare and promote the Winter Olympic Games and, you know, get that process where we can start harvesting the poorest of the poor as we feed them fentanyl, right? Okay? They got rid of Glenn Clark so they could do all that. But why is the media not reporting on this? And look how many views I have, people. Don't tell me I am not being shadow banned. Because I am.